Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review of the Captain America trilogy. So in the third part of my Marvel movie marathon, I decided to watch all three Captain America movies in a row just to kind of get a sense of Captain America's arc and what happens to him and how the events of the Avengers affect him personally, as well as the events of the film. So that was interesting because Captain America is probably my favorite trilogy out of all the trilogies in the MCU. There's not many. There's only three, but out of every single series of movies as well, I still think that the Captain America movies are the best ones. I mean, I don't even think that if you were to count the Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Infinity War as a trilogy, I still don't think that that beats the three Captain America movies, because these three movies are great examples of what good superhero movies can be. I'll start off with the first one, which is Captain America, the First Avenger, which follows the story of a young, scrawny guy named Steve Rogers who wants to enlist in the military but is always deemed too small to do so. And one day, he is offered the chance of a lifetime. They're going to perform a medical procedure on him to make him stronger, and by doing so, he becomes Captain America. So Captain America is a Phase 1 movie, and other than Iron Man, people generally dislike a lot of the movies in the first phase, and people generally dislike this one too, and I've never really understood that. I think that Captain America the First Avenger is a great example of a superhero movie, a standalone superhero movie that works completely. I love the setting. I love the way that they utilize the setting. I love the arc of the character because you can tell it's the same person from the beginning to the end, but the same person has changed. The villain is pretty strong. I mean, for MCU standards, he is a pretty strong villain. I just think that Captain America the First Avenger is a great first phase movie. I don't think it's quite as good as Iron Man. Iron Man is more emotionally complex. You get to understand more about the character. But I still think Captain America the First Avenger is perfectly suitable for popping in the TV and watching. I mean, it's very watchable. There's no reason that it's not watchable. It goes by quickly. The acting is good. The action scenes are exciting. The CGI for the time is pretty good. There's not a whole lot of problems that I have with the First Avenger. One of them might be that the movie feels a bit cheesy at times, but I think that the cheese might have been part of the style, and it doesn't work all the time, but it does work sometimes. I don't really get why people dislike this movie. If anyone wants to go in the comments and explain why they don't like Captain America the First Avenger, please do, because I love hearing opinions on why people don't. But personally, I don't know if it's sentimental attachment, but I can't seem to find too many problems with this movie. I will give Captain America the First Avenger a 7.5 out of 10. Alright, now we are on to Captain America the Winter Soldier, which follows Captain America after the events of the first Avengers when some bad things are going on with S.H.I.E.L.D. And because of that, Captain America has to deal with the fallout. And that's all I'll say about the plot, because the plot to this movie is very, very complex. It's very reminiscent of a spy, like a 70s spy thriller, because it has a complex plot structure. It follows a man who's on the run. The action is very much, there's not a whole lot of gunfight, and when there is, it's the type of gunfight you would find in the movie. This one didn't really feel like a superhero movie, and it started a trend with the MCU movies, where MCU movies from here on out started kind of taking on their own personal genres and putting a twist on it. Guardians of the Galaxy had very, very strong feelings of a 80s kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's a weird genre, but like an 80s teenage film. It kind of had those kind of vibes going on. And at the same time, you had Black Panther recently, which gave off the vibe of a Black rights liberation type of movie mixed with a superhero movie. There's a lot of different genres that started emerging from the different Marvel movies after this one, and I like that this movie started the trend because it was the perfect movie to start that trend. this is a great example of the blend of two genres because it's still very strongly a superhero movie. It has very strong feelings like that. However, the Cold War spy thriller type of genre implementation into it is very natural, fits very, very well, and makes for a movie that is extremely suspenseful. Even though I like all of the other Marvel movies, I can't really say that any of them are suspenseful because usually you know what's going to happen. This one, you don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of suspense, a lot of intrigue, and the plot is fairly unpredictable. I also must say, I forgot Robert Redford was in this movie, but I don't know how because he is a great villain. He is one of the best MCU villains, probably the second best besides Thanos. I think that maybe he's tied with Loki because he is a very subtle villain, and when you're watching the beginning of the movie and you're seeing his character before you know that he turns to a villain, he seems so natural and he seems so poised and so intelligent, and you think there can't be anything wrong with this guy, and yet there is. And I love that the movie put that twist on it. I think The Winter Soldier is a great Captain America movie. It's a great MCU movie, and it started a trend that has only made the MCU better. I will give Captain America The Winter Soldier a 7.75 out of 10. Alright, and the final Captain America movie is Captain America Civil War. So this one follows the story of the Avengers as they are approached by the government and told that their superhero abilities have been used to save people. However, by saving some people, they have hurt some people, and the United Nations wants to put some regulation on that. So, two sides emerge. One side that agrees, yes, there should be regulation on what we do. One side that says no. So you might be wondering, why is this a Captain America movie? I have had that question for a while. Because there's a lot of Avengers in it. It honestly just feels more like an Avengers movie or an Avengers spin-off movie. But it is a Captain America movie, and I think it's a Captain America movie because it completes a arc with Captain America. The boy that he was at the first movie is not the same boy by the end of this movie. He is a hardened, gruff man who has seen a lot and has become very strongly attached to the few things in his life that he still loves. Things in his life have been completely unstable. Think about it. He thought that he died. He woke up in a brand new time period. Then in The Winter Soldier, he couldn't trust anybody because of all the espionage that was going on in this movie. And in this third one, he's a hardened man. He no longer has that boy energy to him. He has been turned on multiple times, and he still feels a strong attachment to Bucky because Bucky is the only person that has not turned on him other than, in The Winter Soldier, he was brainwashed. He's still Bucky, though, and he sees that. And they complete his arc by the end of this movie, and I love what they do with his character, but I also love what they do with Iron Man. This could arguably be Iron Man 4, because Iron Man is the other big front in this movie, and you get to see him be far less macho and far less egotistical and be more emotional in this movie than you do in a lot of the other ones. I personally think Captain America Civil War is the best character MCU movie. Usually MCU movies are focused on scope, they're focused on action, they're focused on story. Very few study characters like this one does so well. And I gotta say, the twist at the end of this movie involving Bucky is one of the best twists this century, and easily the best twist in a Marvel movie. It adds so much emotional complexity just through one simple thing. And even though it's kind of hard to believe, it ends up working out and it ends up being very strong. My only problem with this movie was the need to put in a villain. I don't really understand the villain in this movie. He's in it so little that you can't really remember who he is, and it honestly feels like it's unnecessary for him to be in here. Still, I very much enjoy Captain America Civil War. It is one of my favorite MCU movies, and I will be giving it an 8 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for the Captain America trilogy. So, what are your thoughts on these movies, or how would you rank them? Comment in the comments section below, and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.